Welcome, amazing real estate professionals and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, April 18th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 224. We're coming up on a quarter of 1,000 Mastermind calls next week, so it's quite a landmark. We are here for you guys. As I always say, you don't want to hear us talk, so hit *6 and hit 1. We've got 2 in the queue now. We've got plenty of room for more. I don't believe our partner Tim is here yet. Chad, you said you had something you wanted to share with the group?
Yeah. So a big part of obviously what I do is getting content out to you guys that is valuable, that helps you move the needle and move the ball down the field. So I do a lot of that based on the ideas I have, and we have asked some folks here and there, like on Facebook, but we haven't had much response. So something I would like, if there's something that you wish we would cover, if it's not getting talked about on these calls, or something where you just feel like you have knowledge gaps, what can we create for you? So as far as videos or people that we can invite to interview, we've got some stuff coming out like on, realtor safety and hard money lending and institutional money and, using virtual assistants to help scale out of chaos and different things. So we're pulling, we know a lot of the people in the industry, like the business owners in the industry. We can get those people and interview them, and you can learn from them. So it just to generate some help with ideas. If you guys have stuff that like, hey, we would like to see more X, send an email to support@alltheleads, and in the subject line, put something in content idea or that suggestion. And I'm going to, as Jim was saying before the recording started, I'll be out pretty much for the month of May. I'm going to be in Nepal off-grid, so I won't be able to do it all right now. So don't feel like your idea is ignored if it doesn't get produced immediately. But over the next quarter, I have a content schedule that stuff that we know we're going to make. But it's important to me that if we're taking the time to get the right people in front of a camera or do it ourselves, that it's something that's valuable to you guys and content that you actually want. So I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to, to gather, for us to gather your input so we can produce what it is you want and need the most to, to help you in this space. So just, again, email support@alltheleads.com with content suggestion or content idea, and that'll generate a support ticket that can be assigned to me, and we'll get that on the content schedule.
Perfect. Yeah, for a while there, we were trying to do our Ask an Expert, like the first Thursday of every month, we were bringing an expert on. But this forum has grown to the point where we have well over 100 people on every call, and we usually have so many people that have issues that they want to talk about or questions or comments that we have trouble squeezing it into an hour. So, that's kind of one of the roles this takes, and we don't have to limit it to just once a month. Anytime we get good content, Chad will produce it and send it out to you guys. So, good point. I think that is it, unless any of my other partners have anything they want to add. We have 2 in the queue. We got plenty of room for more. Please don't wait until 5 minutes to jump in there. Hit *6 and hit 1 now. And let's go to our first caller. First up is phone number ending in 7500. You're up first.
Yeah, good morning, or good afternoon, rather. Carl Ashley. Probably not in the right format for this, but here it is. I acquired the system a couple of weeks ago and basically haven't opened the box yet, and need to do so. I know Tom had sent me an email for a coaching or startup, whatever. I can't seem to find that thing. I'm just kind of lost in a haze here. I don't see where my sign-in passwords are or any of that stuff. So I just saw this come up. I said, well, I'll just ask the question there rather than, I didn't really know where else to go.
Well, congratulations on asking, a weekend. And you'd be surprised how many people say, well, it's been 3 months. I better start using this. And the good news is the lead season well. It's not too late to get started. But Tom, Carl, what's your last name, Tom? I'll reach out to you after this and schedule a call.
Ashley.
Okay. Tom's on the call, so he'll reach out to you afterwards. And then and actually if you're able to talk to Tom right away, he can help you with the password. Otherwise, just call our main number, which is 844-532-3369, and just say you're a new subscriber and you need, you can't sign in, and they'll help you either reset the password or they'll let you know what your password is.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anything else?
That is it for now. Next
All
week
right.
I'll probably have a question.
By next week you'll have multiple listings you've taken already, so you'll be sharing your success stories, right? There you go.
Idea.
Thanks. There you go. Think positive. Thank you, Carl. Next up is phone number ending in 3710. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Dan. So I'm a new subscriber, and my question is, initially I got into this with the intent to wholesale, and I still do, but I like the format you guys set up with providing value with different services. I was wondering, when you offer one of those other services, for example, estate sale or something like that, how hands-on or are you in that process, or do you follow up with them, or what's that workflow like?
So this is one of those things, Dan, that I actually just yesterday I made like a 15-minute video to give you a deep dive on this, because we talk about it. It's buried in these calls way back. So that's one of the ideas that I'm looking for, but I'm not deferring to that. So the idea, like the best practice, is just to create reciprocal referral relationships with those partners. So you want to create the appearance from a marketing perspective of a vertically integrated solution. Everything under one roof, one-stop shop, whatever your problem could be, I have the solution. And that gives you all those marketing hooks for them to respond to. But when the call comes in, we build rapport, we focus on the people and situation. And then once we've got rapport and they trust us, then we start to individually introduce them to the vendors, that only the ones that apply to that situation. Okay. So for example, if you set a target date of 45 days out, and the house needs to be cleaned out, and then it needs to be deep cleaned, and then it needs to be painted and staged, you would start at that 45-day target date and then work your way backwards and go ahead and schedule those people. So you're going to hear from Jim, the painter, on this date. You'll hear from Sam, the estate sale company, on this date, and da-da-da-da-da. And you introduce them and just simply say, Sam will let you know, he'll arrange for payment whenever you guys come to an agreement on what he'll do. So you present it as if they're part of one big team, but their department is having the individual contractual relationship with the estate. And you never get any pushback. People understand that you still get the social credit for having the team, but none of the money comes through your books, so you don't have any liability or responsibility. And the key there is choosing the right partners. If you set up 2 or 3 vendors to go meet with someone and none of them even call, or they don't show up when they're supposed to, then you start to lose social credit, right? So the key is making sure that you work with partners who have similar business values, and like you see value in what we teach of provide value first and actually offer a service to the community. Your vendors should see that same opportunity. And if they don't, if they're really money driven or they lack in service, then sometimes it can hurt you, because then you have to go pick up the pieces for people who didn't, and it does create more work. So it's definitely quality over quantity when it comes to building your team. Make sure you have the right people. Just like one example is I tell people to find a registered investment advisor versus just going to any old financial advisor, because there's a different standard of service. There's a different standard of ethics. And a big bucks financial guy might not be willing to take the time and sit down with a family that has $50,000, where a registered investment advisor will build that relationship and take the $50,000 now, because he's hoping that the family will trust him and bring more over time. So we just kind of vet our partners based on who's going to work best with these types of these people in this type of situation, and then it typically is smooth. And you usually won't use more than 1 or 2 partners on any deal. The reason we present them all is because we never know which one or two are going to be valuable. So that just gives us a lot more surface area for a response to our marketing message. So the idea is to not create any more work for yourself, not bring anything through your books, just provide value by creating a referral, and then you'll get the same in return.
Okay.
And Danny, I was just going to add, I always tell people that ask me, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It really isn't. It's really not any different than your standard real estate transaction. You generally will have a mortgage company, a title company, an attorney, a roof company, a termite, inspection company. You generally have vendors on a standard transaction that you know and trust through experience. And, it's the same thing. You're just building a slightly different team of vendors because the situation is different. But it's very similar. You make the referral, make sure you trust them, and you'll learn, there's ways of verifying if they're good. There's websites out there. There's reviews. Generally, just asking somebody else in your office, one of the more busy agents in your office, they probably have this team already that, that they've vented if you don't want to take the time and effort to do it. But really not too different than a standard transaction, just different people that wear slightly different hats. Make sense?
Right, and the complexity actually works to your advantage because, especially for anyone brand new to this, it's like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to find all these people and get this done? The family feels the same way. The reality is I can build a team for anyone on this phone call in under a week. If you have a motivation there, you'll go find the right partners. It's really not that hard. But keep in mind, the family feels like it would, they're going to have to vet all these people, and it could take weeks or months, and it really could because if they don't have any exposure to those folks in the industry. But the reality is it looks complex, but for us and our careers and the daily contact we have, you can pull it together in a matter of hours, if no more than days, and have it completely set up. So I do see a lot of people get overwhelmed. That's why I made that video yesterday. Like, even explaining it makes it sound complex, but it's really simple. The idea is to create a whole bunch more value, but no more work for you. And it's not that hard to set up. Once you get started, it'll be, you'll see.
Awesome.
Anything else, Danny? Does that answer your question?
I think that answers my question. Is that video out, or is it on YouTube, or where do?
It's not. It hasn't been uploaded yet. I processed it yesterday. Kat is our content manager. It's on the schedule. It'll be out in the next 3 to 4 weeks at some point. I don't know when it's on the calendar.
Okay. You answered all my questions. I appreciate your guys' help. My leads just came in today, and I'm excited.
Awesome. Go get them. Come back and let us know how you're doing, Danny. Thanks for participating.
No problem.
All right, guys. We have very welcome.
The
3 in the queue.
Danny, sorry, Jim.
Go ahead.
I felt like he was wanting more than he got. So the immediate thing that you can do to learn more about that, and we take a deep dive in Probate Mastery. We go through every single team member, and I give you 2 or 3 ways to find each of those people. So if that's something you're interested in, like right now, you can go ahead and sign up for the next Mastery class, and I'll send you the recordings from the class we just finished. And in session 2, we go deep in this. We spend 3 hours looking at building your strategy and your team and your offer. So if you really want to take the deep dive and get the most out of it, Mastery is going to be the best thing, and we can deliver that to you today.
I think I'm going to probably jump in on the next session, not this one right here. But, yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big part of what we do is in session 2, it's all, this and everything surrounding it. So we'll see you in the May class.
All righty. Next up is phone number ending in 9112. You're up next.
Hi,
That's you, Garland. Yes, sir.
Hey, I know that we're able to do a custom list upload for the mailings, but is that possible to do the same thing for the LeadFollow?
So right now, LeadFollow is just for our probate list. The intent is to have a custom upload, a custom list upload. But right now, we don't have all the ad types and the creative. I mean, you know, the list is half the equation. The other half is what content works. And we just haven't proofed out all the content for other list types. Like, for example, what list are you thinking about?
It's a probate list. It's just from a different source.
Okay. And do you have first name, last name, address, phone numbers?
Yes.
You do have phone numbers?
For some of them, not all of them.
Okay. So we can most likely do it. We can set it up manually. The problem you're going to have, if like with our data, we know that we have good phone numbers, so that gives, you know, those are match points. So we're getting 86% match on our audience, like in the Facebook part of it. The fewer match points we have, the less, the lower our match rate will be. So you may end up not seeing the data. It's hard to tell, but you may end up getting less, you know, less people in your audience, depending on the quality of the data. But we could potentially do it. If you send an email to support at all the leads and just say custom probate lead follow list in the subject line, then
Okay.
we'll have somebody reach out to you and let you know if we can do it right now. There may be things that I'm not thinking about systematically, like our system is built, you know, for the list that we provide. So if there's any, I'm not going to promise we can do it, but I think we can.
Well, here's the deal.
Okay.
We can probably, like Chad said, do it. But what you need to do when you send that email in, attach a copy of at least an excerpt from the list that you have, so that we can look at it. Because the only thing that would keep you from being able to do that would be potentially to have the ability to format it as we have our data formatted, so that it's going to be accepted by the system. If it's not in the same format, then it won't work. So the burden of doing that is probably going to be on you. And certainly if you want us to do it, we can do it for you. But obviously time is money, and it's probably easier for you to do it.
Okay. Did I hear you guys say that if we had leads with no phone numbers that you could get those for us?
Yes, we can do that for $1 per. We'll do the match and append up to four numbers for each person for $1 per line.
Okay, and just put in a email to support for that as well.
Yeah, I don't think, Tim, I don't think we have a manual. We don't have a form for that. So support is the best way, right?
Yeah, send it to support. Now, obviously the other thing is you are a subscriber. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. You're good to go, because as a subscriber, it's $1 a lead. If you're not a subscriber, it's $2 a lead. So you're good to go. Just drop us an email. Let us know what you want to do. We'll take care of you.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right. We have 2 more in the queue, guys. We got plenty of room. Get in there now. Hit *6 and hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 5574. You're up next.
Hi, guys. This is Jim Comley from Philadelphia. How are you?
Hey, Jim. Prior winner of the week.
That I was. So
Yes, sir.
I've been calling, and one of the things I'm getting is when I'm calling off the primary number is, what the hell are you calling me for? Why are you calling me? And, you know, I try to dance around that and say, hey, you know, we're trying to get in touch with but I was just wondering if there was a way you handle that.
So is it the person you're trying to reach?
No.
Okay, is it a common name like Jim Smith?
No, it's you know, okay, I might be trying to call Jim Smith, but this says, you know, Meg Johnson.
Okay.
And so, you know, I just say, hey, I'm trying to reach Jim Smith. Well, what the hell are you calling me for?
Okay. So I think I could probably help you best in a role play if you want to role play it.
Sure.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Jim Smith.
No Jim Smith here.
Oh, okay. So Jim Smith, who is representing an estate, and we were trying to reach him. We have a team of folks that help families that are in the probate process. Any of that sound familiar?
Well, yeah, I know Jim. He's my uncle. What the hell are you calling me for?
Well, as I said, we're trying to reach Jim Smith, and my assistant just gave me this number and said that it might work. You may know how I can get a hold of Jim. We actually didn't find the number for him in the probate record, but I was just reaching out to members of the family to see, just so you understand. I mean, our whole goal is to help families, with everything that the attorneys don't help with in the probate process. So we try to reach out to the family to let them know that we're here in the community, and if there's any way we can help, we like to get started early because we can make a bigger difference. So do you think you could share Jim's number with me, or should I go should I call your wife?
Oh, why don't you give me your number, and I'll have him get in touch with you if he wants.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
I'll break there, but a couple things that I gave kind of third party deferral. I blame my assistant for snooping around finding the phone number, and that kind of takes the heat off of you. It's actually not common that people are like that. I don't know if you how many times have you come up against it?
4 or 5.
Yeah, that's pretty uncommon. Usually people are pretty open, and I mean, more often than not, the number one phone number slot is the personal rep's personal cell phone in most markets. Now, it could be, there's a lot of variables to that, but I wouldn't expect it to be the majority of your calls that are going to go that way. But usually, if you can blame somebody else that's smarter than you and make a joke out of it, kind of throw yourself under the bus and say, "My assistant's way smarter than me. I don't know how she found your number, but that's why I pay her the big bucks," and just make a casual joke out of it. Usually people will ease up and let it go. The other thing is if you can ask good engaging questions, like good open-ended questions, and interrupt their mental pattern, because what's going through their head, and you remember when we talked about this in Mastery, everything, what everyone wants to know is, who the hell are you, how the hell did you get my number, and what the hell do you want? And if you don't gain control, if you don't take control of the conversation, then you'll spend the whole time trying to regain control because they're leading, and when they're hitting you with these questions, and so I find that deflecting it and kind of making a joke out of it and blaming somebody that's way smarter than me is usually, that's the easiest way to diffuse it. But if that doesn't work, if it's happening to you that often, like 4 or 5 times out of how many calls?
Oh, I don't know. I probably made 60 over the last 2 or 3 days.
So 10% of the time, or 10 to 15% of the time?
Yeah, now I'm doing it in a dialer. So all I have is the PR's name. I don't have I'm calling Rachel Ray for Jim Smith. All I have
and that's, quite honestly, that's better, because then you don't have that seed of doubt in your mind that it's going to happen, right? You're just calling somebody in hopes to reach Jim Smith. And if you can't see that it's Rachel Ray, you think in your mind when the phone's ringing, you're like, this could be Jim, right? And you don't have that notion of failure before you start, because you're not calling Jim. Right. And just always try to open your call with, "I'm trying to reach Jim Smith," even if it's a male voice. I would go ahead and say that, because it could be his brother, Right. But it's unusual that you come up against it that often. If you can try to deflect it and then put a question back to them immediately, do you think this would be a good time for me to reach out to Jim? And completely get away from that, how I got your number, why I'm calling. Let's focus this on something else. So do you think now is not the right time to call Jim, or do you think now is the best time to call Jim? Or when would be the best time to call Jim? And just try to move the conversation away from those objections they're hitting you with. And then you should be able, then they'll run out of steam. People can only be abrasive and pissed off for short bursts typically. So if you can keep them on the phone, even if they're still abrasive, eventually they'll run out of steam and you'll be in a real conversation. And I kind of just wear people down until they're actually listening to me, and then we can have a real conversation and we can both get what we want. So just try to keep them on the phone and keep them answering, keep asking them questions that lead them away from their objection but toward your outcome. And always be willing to try stuff on for size. Humor works great in situations like this. Silence can be really effective. Like if they say something like, well, you know, like you can oftentimes, and we talked about this in Mastery too, if you sort of raise the pitch of your voice and just repeat back to them what they just said to you and then follow that with silence. A lot of times that will give them the space to blow all that energy out. And then your next question is the first one you want them to actually answer and listen to. And that usually giving them that chance to blow off the steam can get you through that if you've got the tenacity to hang on to the in a socially awkward conversation. And that's where a lot of people give up. They won't stick with it long enough to blow that steam off. So those are some ideas to try.
Okay. You know, that's all I got for today.
All right, keep it up, Jim. I know you're off to a great start, so thanks for participating. We only have one more in the queue, guys, and we got over 30 minutes, so please don't be shy. We're looking for, we don't have our win of the week yet. We're looking for success stories, challenges, places you're getting stuck. Nothing's out of bounds, so hit star 6 and hit 1, and you'll be up next. In the meantime, next up is phone number ending in 1455. You're up next.
Hi, guys. This is Tito. I just want to share the win of the week. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, he said the win of the week, Jim.
The win
yeah.
of the week.
For him.
I just did my first mailing a couple of weeks ago, my first set of mailings, and this is my first round of phone calls. And I made about 60 calls, and I've got one person that I'm getting a listing with. I just sent them the paperwork, but I live in Seattle, but I'm actually marketing in Billings, Montana. So I'm contacting people there. So it's my first time doing it, and I mean it seems to work. And I notice when I'm making the phone calls, sometimes we're looking after the results, but what I realized, I got to remind myself, it's just a process, right? It's just making those calls, just keep making those calls, and just leaving a lot of voicemails, and this was actually a voicemail that I left, and he actually called me back on it. So, yeah, so I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys.
Cool. So
well, that is great.
You have a partner on the ground in Billings?
Actually, I do not, but I just connected with a realtor over there that's going to be taking the listing, and we're going to be splitting the commission.
Great. And do they know that it's a probate lead, and do they have experience with that?
Yeah, they know the probate lead, and actually the guy is actually in Colorado, and then the property is actually in Billings, so it's an out-of-state, seller.
So one thing I would say, and so some of our subscribers do this remotely. Jim Forsyth, I don't know if you're on the call, Jim, like he's in Memphis, Tennessee, but he has a market in, is it Alabama, coastal Alabama, and another in Texas. And he has basically referral partners on the ground. So he'll do the mail. He pays for the mail and the phone calls and get appointments, and then they go actually, do the groundwork. If this agent does a good job for you, you might want to kind of formalize your relationship so they don't end up being your competition.
Right.
If Billings is surprisingly one of those markets that has been overlooked, it has a strong real estate market. There's a lot of development going on there. It's a good market, but we haven't had a whole lot of interest there in the last 5 years. So it's a great opportunity. But make sure you're not training your competition. If you're doing it remotely, you might want to formalize that relationship and just set an expectation that you own the probate space and he's your referral partner.
Gotcha.
But that's good, man. That's to be doing this remotely and get one in your first 60 calls. Good for you.
Thank you.
Congrats. You're down for winner of the week. Thanks for sharing.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Next up is phone number ending in 2019. You're up next.
Hey guys, this is Steve in South Texas again. Called I think a week or two ago and had a few questions, but I've got kind of an odd one for y'all right now. Because I'm actually going through a situation, and my wife or my fiance is actually just recently went through probating unfortunately her family had all passed away. She inherited the property, so that was part of my experience in learning how to do a lot of what I have learned so far. But we've got something going on in Illinois, and I'm on these calls weekly, and I thought, you know what, I'll ask you guys about, is anybody, I don't know what exact county it's in Illinois, but she inherited some kind of mineral rights on a property in Illinois with the passing of her stepdad. Need some help with that in another state. I'm in Texas. I don't know where to go, where to turn to, what to do, but they said we have to probate it there.
So that's what's known as ancillary probate, and you'll initiate just the same as you would in Texas in the county clerk's office. So just make contact with the probate clerk and let them know that the primary probate is in Texas, or you didn't say, but I'm assuming it's in Texas. So you're probating the majority of the assets there, but there is this one asset, and you need to file for ancillary probate in Illinois, and they'll guide you through the process.
Okay, no need to call a attorney over there or anything like that.
I doubt it. I mean, it's hard to tell without knowing the specifics. Do you have documentation of the ownership?
Yes.
Yeah, so you probably won't. You probably don't even need an attorney. You just need to transfer the property. And the court, I mean, you may. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable, you certainly should get an attorney. But a lot of folks, I mean, like here in Virginia, I've never done a deal with an attorney. Just people just don't use attorneys. So you can certainly do it on your own, especially if it's something simple. Like I would imagine it's going to depend on how complicated it is. Will depend on how title is held to the asset, and the probate clerk can tell you. And if you feel like you're getting in over your head, then I would call an attorney. But you can probably manage on your own.
Okay, so I deal with plenty of county clerks in South Texas here, so I kind of know how to talk to them around here. I'm sure I can get a hold of the one in Illinois, whatever that county is. Well, I'll ask a better question then real quick, or at least make a comment. The last caller said something about kind of partnering with somebody remotely. I'm in a situation here where I just renewed my real estate license. And I don't necessarily like the traditional way of doing real estate myself. I prefer the investor side of the business and wholesaling and flipping houses and stuff like that. So that's why I started looking into probate. And like I said, I talked to Jordan a couple months ago, but I'm in such small counties and also in Bexar County. I just want to throw my name out there and say, look, guys, if there's anybody in Texas or anybody interested in this area that would like to kind of partner up or at least work together. I've got a handful of contractors, and I mean, I know plenty of people here. I've been in the property management business. I've got contractors coming out my ears, and the experience myself of flipping homes. So if anybody's interested in working together down here in the San Antonio and surrounding areas, I'm here. I'm ready to go. I don't have the cash to do some of the deals. Some of my friends do. So I'm looking for the deals. And when I find them, I can make them happen.
Excellent. Stephen, are you part of our Facebook group? I was going to say, are you in the Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say you may want to post that in there also. Go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
That's all I was going to say. Like one of the best places to meet folks is jump into that All the Leads Mastermind and say, hey guys, looking to work with folks who are in and around San Antonio, or even if you're remote wholesaling and you want to pitch deals in San Antonio, we've got money and contractors.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll do that. And I wanted to feel comfortable about doing it. I know that people pitch deals and stuff like that, and I haven't bought any counties, any leads from my county yet because like I told y'all before, I'm working in like 4 small counties, and you guys don't get leads from those courthouses currently, and I get it. I understand. I've been to the courthouses, and it's really easy to do it, but it's they're all 100 miles away from each other. But that's where I'm working, you know. So I gather 20 leads a month out of 4 different courthouses. That's kind of what I'm doing. But I'll do that. I just wanted to ask first. So I didn't want
Oh, that's nice of you, Stephen. As long as it's real estate related, that's what the group's for. We had a guy in there that was aggressively selling sunglasses one time. I think we had to ban him, but it's the purpose. The purpose of the group is to help you guys learn and network with each other. But thanks for asking. But please, anybody on the call, feel free to do so. And if you're not a member of the
Jim,
group,
did you buy sunglasses? Did you buy sunglasses before we banned him?
I was going to, but you banned him first, so I didn't get a chance.
Thanks, guys. You answered that question, and I'll get involved on the Facebook group.
Perfect.
Right.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, we got 3 more in the queue, guys. That should work out. We do have time for 1 or 2 more. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 3030.
Hello, this is Tania with Ackerman Realty in San Francisco. We just recently signed up with you guys, so we're waiting to get the leads, so I'm sure I'll have more questions after we receive those. But in the meantime, we had taken an idea from one of your affiliates, Patrick, about inserting the blue pen into your first letter. And unfortunately, when we tried to mail the letters, they were flagged as parcels and were pretty expensive, about $3.86 per envelope. Has that been a problem, or do you know a workaround?
Did you do them yourself?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, we have spent a lot of time with the Postal Service, and we obviously do a lot of stuff for Frank, and we have a structure that gets anything you put in mail like that. It's called lumpy mail, and there are specific criteria that you have to reach with the Postal Service, and we've been able to do that with our program with Frank's stuff. So if you want some information about doing that, we can certainly do it for you. We've spent a lot of time and energy figuring out how to get it done, and we don't get it put out at parcel rate, and all of our stuff gets delivered.
Okay, and you are able to include the pen in the first mailing?
Yeah, well, we include the pen in the first mailing if we already have it. What we generally do with our customers, because they want to personalize them and they don't want to wait, is we've moved the pen to the second mailing, and we do, I think he has a dollar bill cut out that he does in the first. So we switch the order, which gives us time to order the pens and have them personalized so that they really put the best foot forward. So the pens typically go in the second mailing for what we do. But your issue isn't that. Your issue is that you're not able to get them through the post office's slot to get it done. And it takes a certain kind of pen and a certain kind of slot.
Okay. And can I send you an email and talk about that process as well? Because we would like to look into that ourselves as well.
Yep. Well, send it to support@alltheleads.com. Ask your question, and we'll do it. And I would probably urge you to do it. Let us do it. You're not probably going to be able to do it yourself, because it's because of what we do in terms of volume with the post office that we're able to get this stuff through. But certainly ask your question, and then we'll get back to you with somebody who can walk you through it and explain to you what we do and see if we can do it and save you some dough.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Tim, just a reminder, so there is a page set up for Frank's crew. It's alltheleads.com/Frank Patrick with no space. And that'll lead you under the video. There's a link, the second blue button. You can click and kind of see some samples of Frank's mail pieces. And you can also
just be aware that we are revising that program as we speak, and that's part of what we're working on literally today. We're doing some changes to that, so there'll be some additional stuff coming out there, but we're doing it to reflect what I said, which is to pull the pen to the second mailing, and we've actually added one more piece to it that we think adds some additional effectiveness, so we're working on that.
All right. It occurs to me there may be a few people on the call saying, who the heck is Frank Patrick? Frank is a very well-known speaker. He's been traveling and teaching probate for years, and about a year and a half, 2 years ago, he contacted us because he was teaching people how to go down to the courthouse and do this themselves, and he realized that so few people did, and he wanted his people to be successful. He contacted us, and it's been a real good partnership. You know, you can send his letters, you can send our letters, you can do his lumpy mail, but we have a number of his people now that we're kind of implementing, you know, the system with great results. So anyway, we have, hopefully that answered your question, Tanya?
It did. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. We have 3 more in the queue. That should just about, I'm going to close the queue in about 5 minutes. So if anybody else wants to jump in, just hit *6 and then hit 1, and you'll probably be the last up this week. Next up is phone number ending in 5999. You're up next.
Hi, this is Bill from Los Angeles. I just finished the mastery course, Chad. It was amazing.
Thanks.
I didn't mean to sign up because it's in the morning here in LA and the time didn't work, so I had to do the recordings. But basically, I listened to them all, and what was great about it was I had time to stalk you and then do the notes and write down my homework and do some of it. And it was fantastic. I'm actually glad I did it that way. It worked out fantastic. So thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for the compliment.
Second,
And Bill, if you were trying to do that live with Chad, it's impossible to stop him once he starts talking. So that's good.
I know.
You use that format. Yeah.
I know that. I know.
Go ahead.
You get this. I had Steve going. It's tough. So even though I draw. Second, I'd say to answer the question earlier about the affiliates, I was doing some of the homework while I was on the phone with doing the course last week. You handled that beautifully, and I actually got started on that right away. To answer the caller earlier about that, you did handle that fantastically, and on the second day in the mastery, definitely worth the money and the investment of time. So I started making some calls from old data. I haven't yet got, I subscribed, haven't got my leads yet, and sent my mailer yet, ready to go. But I started actually going to the courthouse every day, and just to learn the process, to sit in, to watch the confirmation sales, kind of watch the process, meet some attorneys there, meet some sellers there. I guess one of the questions that comes up, it seems that in LA County at least, they almost always require an appraisal and the property to sell for 90% of fair market value. And that said, I'm seeing some good deals at that. I'm just wondering what I can do to help to market those properties to either pick up buyers and or just for publicity purposes. Is there any, other than the normal real estate things we do and calling the listing agent, kind of advertise your property or something like that, is there anything particular in the probate space? Have you seen anybody put together like a buyer's probate list or something like along those lines that would be of benefit? I'm just looking for an idea in that area.
I actually haven't. It's a great idea. What's going to be difficult is knowing what's coming up. Is how do you pull together a list of what's going to be on the court docket next week? How do you find that information? Unless you're going into the courthouse and doing, weekly research, it's going to be hard to do that. I think it's a fantastic idea. Trying to think of ways you could do this. So there's a group out of Seattle. They actually do. So they'll take a look at, and this is foreclosures, but I'm showing you this. You might see some opportunity in the model. Essentially what they do is they meet every Thursday at a restaurant it used to be in Redmond. I think it's in Bellevue. But anyways, they get together and almost like a launch model like we used to do in resort development. They'll put all the properties on the board and say, okay, who's interested? Raise your hands. And then if there's more than one person interested, then they'll kind of debate back and forth and say, okay, we're not going to pit you guys against each other. Who's going to give the right of way? Who wants this house and who's willing to wait for the next one? So they set up a priority, and then the investors sign a limited power of attorney, which gives them, the broker, the authority to bid at the trustee sale in that market. You could potentially do something like that. So every Thursday night from 5 to 7, you could, just pay for the back room in a restaurant and have like an investor seminar, or even just a home buyer seminar, and just set your priority for the next court day in that meeting, and then you have a limited power of attorney, or you can take your client with you. And you can, the other thing that there's 2 opportunities there. There's also the overbid process in your state. So if you can find out how to track them all the way through and know exactly which properties are going to be presented on which days, then you could do this just like that foreclosure model. But it might require quite a bit of research. You may have to have somebody in the courthouse on a weekly or even daily basis to be able to keep track of them. However, if you do that, That is a hell of an X factor, man. Like that's a blue ocean if I've ever seen one. Like you will create a ton of deals.
I actually had that opportunity, that data. So I think you give me some idea to work on. Related to what you just said on the overbid, I see oftentimes that the offer is accepted before they get to court, which means that they're saying a week beforehand, I have to overbid. Whereas the terms of the auction beforehand, or the terms of the sale before, I can go up $1,000, $2,000, and it seems like the agents obviously are trying to double-side deals or trying to use insiders to get the deals. Is there any process by which I can say to the court that that's handled inappropriately and offer? But because once it gets to court, they're just going to say, well, just go ahead and overbid the property. But at court, I put 10%, all my money's at risk, versus bidding before it's 3%, and I have a chance to get money back for, if the escrow doesn't close. Any ideas? Is that worth pursuing? In LA, very legalistic county, but it just seems that the majority of realtors, the property goes to the confirmation date where the multiple listing service says offer already accepted, which is totally wrong.
Unless they had full authority. So if those families petition,
but they advertise it, they have an obligation to be truthful. If they advertise that they're accepting offers until April 20th and they accept it on March 18th, they're not meeting the publication requirement of. They could say, well, we're going to accept an offer right away, but the court required them to publicize it for a reason, and their advertising is by definition false.
So this is definitely a question you want answered locally. Have you made contact with any probate attorneys and built those relationships yet?
That's why I got in your program. I know a bunch of them, and maybe that's a good reason just an excuse to call out to them and ask them for input.
Exactly. That was my point.
Yeah, good point.
So I would say, listen, this, and the other thing I would look for is try to see if there's a pattern, if there's any particular attorney who is attached to those deals where that's happening. And if that's the case, like if it's 2 or 3 attorneys that are handling it that way, you might ask that attorney, like, what do you know about, John Doe? And it seems to be like 20% of these deals are his that this is happening on. And if you can't beat them, join them. Maybe that attorney can figure out what John Doe is doing and create that same kind of situation for you if it's above board, if it's legal and ethical.
Well, it's actually the opposite. It seems that these attorneys are not that, they don't do that many of them, and they kind of let the realtor and they don't get involved. And I feel like my opportunity is to approach them and say, basically learn the program, right? I'll help you all the non-legal stuff, and I'll help the relationship, and I'll help you get top dollar for your property. Because so many attorneys just turn it over to the realtor and act like they don't know wants going on. And I'm feeling like, well, your customers got taken advantage of. I watched it yesterday. The customers got taken advantage of, and he just wants to get paid. And okay. Look, you gave me a lot to think about and work on. Thank you so much for your time, Chad. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, I was going to add, we only have one more person in the queue, so we have a little bit of extra time. And this is a little bit off the topic of probate, but other people might be able to benefit from it. Chad, when you were telling your story about the investors meeting at the restaurant in California, in our market down here in South Florida, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, they changed from courthouse auctions to online. It's like an eBay type auction, with the next bidder, the next bidder, the next bidder. And I know a local broker down here, and I thought this was brilliant. He went to the last few auctions. He got a list of investors. Every auction day, he hosts a auction party at his office. He has investors show up, gets them all registered as his clients. He gives them accurate CMAs on all the properties that are coming up in the auction, and he does the bidding for them. And I just, I thought that was brilliant. He's doing very well with it, even though people can do it themselves. They appreciate, some expertise and knowing they're not going to get taken advantage of if they do it through a professional. I just want to throw that out there. It reminds me a little bit of what your guys are doing in California.
No,
I love the concept. I love that. I actually have a weekly investor meeting, not oriented towards this at all, and I've been looking for some value to create for it, and this would be a fantastic opportunity. Wow.
Not only that, if you got a dozen people there, there's a little bit of competition among them. If 2 or 3 of them like the property, you know, you got a better chance that one of them is going to be yours that is the successful bidder. So, good. Thanks for
to take that model all the way out. Like I kind of let off the gas at the sale, but if you want to build this out as like a boutique service in your brokerage, I mean, like what the guys are doing in King County up in Washington, so they'll go through the acquisition, then they'll rehab the house, then they'll put a tenant in it, then they'll manage it. So they're giving a turnkey solution. And the reason I know so much about it, I was in Hawaii trying to buy a property in Washington, and I'm 3,500 miles away and 3 hours off the time, the time zone. So to me, it was incredibly valuable because I had boots on the ground. Like they basically took our approach. They built a team around them of property managers, contractors, property runners that would go take pictures of the properties, bring it all back. And I've got other friends who have built this into like software in different states. But you can take it all the way out to creating a full turnkey rental portfolio program if you wanted to do that. If you really want to get it like niche out and focus on having a probate bidding process, and then once they've acquired the home, you get paid on the acquisition, you get a commission.
Yeah.
You get you get a percentage for your project management throughout the rehab, and then you get a percentage for property management, and then when they sell, you get the sell side commission on the disposition. So you can create a ton of value for the investor and a ton of monetization points for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I thank you. I'm gonna re-listen to this audio when it comes out as well because a lot of material here.
Great.
A lot of meat here.
Thanks for sparking the conversation. Well, this is perfect timing, guys. We got about 7 minutes left. We have one more person in the queue. So last up this week was, I think he's the first is last. You're back, Jim. Jim Conley is back.
Thanks. A couple sessions ago, I heard you mention a editable, printable brochure. So I have Zeke working on brochures, and it's cheaper to have you guys do it than it is to do it and take it to my printer. So, but just in the interim till I get those, and I got a whole lot of things going on, so it'll probably be a week or two before I order them and then get them. Where can I find the editable, printable brochure version?
So we don't have when you're in subscriber portal, if you look under Mailbox Motivator, letter and brochure samples, and then there's a separate tab for letters and brochures. But the online editor is not set up to edit your brochures because they're so highly customized.
Okay.
You're not going to find like a drag and drop graphic editor if that's what you're looking for. We do have the online letter editor, but with the more complicated graphic pieces like the trifold, we'll work with you one-on-one to do that as most designers would.
Yeah, I'm already working with Zeke, and I'll get them, but I mean, there's lead time before it gets to the printer, and then from the printer, it then shipped to me. So I was just hoping to print a couple out and go out to my potential referral sources. But
we have, if you want, I'll send you mine with my picture and my phone number. You can send those out, and if that helps.
Yeah, but see.
Well, you're one helpful human being, Chad. I've always said, you're a giving, caring, loving rip-off artist.
Chad, I would for a nice referral fee, but you're going to be in Nepal off the grid, so it's not going to do any good.
I'm probably not a good referral partner
there,
for the next month.
Hey, the other thing I was going to tell you is if you have a time-critical issue, if you let Zeke know that, I mean, we don't take 2 weeks to get stuff done. So if you're expecting this is going to take a while, it shouldn't. I mean, let him know what your timeline is, and you should be able to get something within a couple of days, not a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, he said he would send me a PDF, and I could print that out myself. I just didn't know if there was something I could do ASAP. So, okay. That was all. I just thought I heard that there was a editable, printable version, and I would just go in and take care of it. But I'll wait. So.
All right, Jim. One thing I was going to comment on that you mentioned there, like the the lady earlier in the call was talking about us, getting a better rate with the post office. We never set out to be a mailing company, but we provided that service for our customers, and with the volume we do, we can often do it better and cheaper. Same thing with printing. I don't think we ever set out to be, a brochure printing company, but there was a need for it. And if I give my partner Tim a plug, him and his crew there have really figured out with the volume they do how to deliver really, really great quality at very often much cheaper than you could take it to a printer and get it done yourself. And they don't require the huge runs. You don't have to, a lot of printers to get a good price, you got to run off 10,000 brochures. You can do it in small runs and still benefit from the same price. So thanks for that plug, and I just thought I'd add to what you said. You were going to say something, Tim, also?
No, that's fine. I mean, that's just the point. Anything that we're here to help you, and we'll try and do anything we can to do it. And this goes for anything anybody's got going on. If you've got something that's time critical, certainly let us know, and we'll do it. We've had people who have gotten started with us, but they already had other marketing stuff in process, and they took a look at what we're doing, and they wanted to add hours or replace what they were doing with something that we were doing, and they needed to get it done quickly. And we're here to help. We'll work around the clock to get stuff done. So just let us know, and we'll help you out.
Good to know.
Tim, I talked to a lady last night a gentleman and her husband and wife team that they're signing up this afternoon, but they said, I've had Frank Patrick's stuff sitting in our garage for 2 years now. Can we just ship it to you? You guys mail it out? And we said, yeah, it's not time sensitive. It'll still work. So we'll be glad to do that.
We have a lot of folks that do just that, that they get started with that. It's like anything else. They buy things, they put them under their pillow and hope they're going to make money, and they don't. And we're here to help people monetize stuff. If you recall, when we sat around and figured out what we wanted to be when we grew up, one of the things we said is we don't want to be people who set people up to fill up their garages with stuff they don't do, and we don't do that. We want to make sure that you're making it work, and we'll help you make other people's stuff work as well. And I'll learn to talk too.
That's easy for you to say. So we got one more person that jumped in at the last minute, so we're going to take one more call, and then we're going to cut it off. So last up this week is phone number ending in 6512. You're definitely up last.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much. The last minute I got in.
Sure.
I'm actually looking over, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm looking over the letters. I just got into all of this. So I was the lucky one to call my first person yesterday and get totally ripped. But I cross-checked a lot, so she didn't faze me. But that's just a side note. I wanted to ask, I'm looking at your letter 3, and in that letter, it says, sell in 2 weeks or less for 91% of value on our auction platform with 6,000 investors. I've never done anything like that. I'm hesitant to even put something like that in the letter unless this is something easily to, get a hold of, or I'm not, Can you give a little insight into that, Chad?
Yeah, so that was a letter that was very specific to my business. Mm-hmm. I think it's there because as an example, like we all come from different walks of life and have different opportunities in our business. So it's an example of things you can include, but that's a very specific relationship that I had with a private equity firm that had an auction platform, and they could actually back that up. Unfortunately, it's not really a relationship I can offer to everybody. So it probably doesn't apply, but it's still there as an example of, some things that you can, outside of the box options you can provide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So good. So I was starting to spin my wheels. I figured, let me jump in and ask while I can. Thank you.
Not only don't send brochures out with Chad's picture, don't send out offers only he can honor. So that's a good thing we got out of this call. All right, guys. Great call as always. Thank you so much for all of you that took the time to be here. We had great participation, a few good success stories, and I want to thank you all for being here. I want to challenge each and every one of you, take one idea, one thought, one story, something that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week. We'll talk to you same time next Thursday. Take